Yeah, trying to get some tomatoes to take root. These were cuttings off of a plant that survived last year that we took inside. And now we're trying to get them back into the, wait a minute, what was that? Holy shit, D&D has cured racism. We gotta go. This is a big deal. Human beings have been dealing with racism for like 300,000 years. I can't believe Wizards of the Coast has finally figured out how to stop it. Oh my God. Quickly now, we're almost there. It's almost over. It's almost over. Oh yeah, here we go. Here we go, yeah. Well, so apparently Wizards of the Coast thinks being half race is problematic. I'm sure my sister would find that interesting. I guess when America elected Barack Obama, that was racism because he was only half-elf. Anyway, as you might be hearing, they've announced that they're going to be pulling half-elves and half-orcs out of the next edition of the Player's Handbook, which I guess was inevitable as soon as they changed the term race to species in this game, because, you know, that does complicate how a half-orc or half-elf would work if you're trying to frame these different creatures as being completely different species. But wait, no, it's just a fantasy context. No. Yeah, but you decided you didn't want to take the fantasy context thing when it came to the word race, so you don't get to do that with species, and so we're going to go with the hard and fast scientific rules of what it means to be a species, in which case half-elves and half-orcs, no bueno. Although I don't really think that's the real reason they're doing it. I think it's probably more about the framing of it, that they're half-orc or half-elf and not described as being half-human. Are we trying to say that humans are the default? That normal people are human? Oh my God! But, you know, like, this isn't a surprise. We knew this was coming. I think the funnier thing that comes out of the story is that also apparently they're changing their mind again about what they're going to be calling the next version of D&D. They don't want to call it 6th edition because when you keep adding numbers to stuff, people get less turned on about wanting to buy something if it's a really high edition number, supposedly. And, you know, as I recall, like a year and a half ago, didn't they originally announce this was all going to be D&D Evolution? Like it was some underworld movie title. And then we had one D&D, and my guess is just that there's so much negativity on the internet and YouTube videos and blogs that it has one D&D in its title that they just want to sidestep that entirely and just stick with D&D, I guess. Maybe they'll call it D&D Underwhelming. The thing is, you know, instead of being pissy about the half-orc, half-elf thing, I mean, like I said, like, this isn't a surprise. Anyone who originally reacted to the species news and then started to think about things knew that something like this was bound to happen. But the thing to do is to just pour more fuel on this fire and just get the thing to just burn itself out faster. Because, sure, they're taking out the half-elves and the half-orcs, but what about the tieflings? Tieflings are a mixed race, half-devils. How come they're not problematic? What about the Genasi and the Aasimar, you know, from the side supplement books? I'm sure if we poke around, there's a couple other races and the Dungeons & Dragons setting that are technically half races, and so I guess they need to go too. It's interesting that half orcs and half elves get the chop, but tieflings don't, since tieflings are something that they can trademark, whereas they can't really trademark half elves and half orcs, can they? So odd that the one they're not getting rid of is the one they own. And heavily featured in their new movie. How much of Star Trek is now problematic because of Spock and Bellata Torres being half-breeds? It's time to just walk away from this hobby, guys. Not role-playing games, but D&D. They don't want us. They're trying to turn it into something it isn't. Why even fight about it? Find other things to make content on your channel about. Quit supporting them even passively. Don't watch a stupid movie. Don't watch it when it comes out on VOD. It doesn't matter if you've heard that it's good. We don't live in a timeline where you get to enjoy that. And it's just 2 hours of your life that you could spend doing something else. Your curiosity is just something you're just going to have to sit on about finding out what happened in this movie and was it really good or not. Just tap that part of you down and ignore it. Find other games to play from companies that have not yet fallen down this rabbit hole, albeit those are fewer and fewer between themselves. So, yeah, I guess that's about it. Hit like and subscribe, and all the buttons, and until next time, stay half waspinated.
Experience the thrills of classic pulp action adventure in Expedition to Ancient Egypt, featuring a variety of sourcebooks to enhance your campaign. Now available in the Ancient Egypt compilation. Get yours today on Amazon.com or DriveThruRPG and begin your time-traveling adventures in the ancient past.
I mean, really, how are little kids supposed to know that they're going to have to spend the rest of their lives being constantly uptight and on guard for any the slightest sign of offense coming from themselves or from others, unless we tell them to question every little decision they make in D&D to make sure they're not being racist?